This is how I celebrate wins. And if I lose, there's a consolation cigar. But
Hold on. What is the difference between a consolation cigar and a post-win cigar?
they're the same cigar.
What is up, everybody? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcast, Rafa Esparza, coming to you with another great installment of the Grappling Hour. I hope you're having a great day. We have an excellent guest. You may or may not have seen him say a few things here in just a few seconds ago, but just so we're clear, and I don't, you, why are you flexing on them?
I don't know.
Why does it feel natural to flex?
I don't know.
In your introduction?
We'll scratch that.
It's there, dude. I'm not going back to retake it. All right, we'll get to talking about that as well. But our guest, a phenomenal grappler, striker, everything. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, after winning in impressive fashion with a rear naked choke at the latest RFL, I am happy to bring on, for the very first time, one Liam Conroy. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on.
I'm so happy. Did you enjoy being able to train here today, sir?
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, for those who may not have, who are like new to the podcast, yeah, we trained before we started this podcast. And how long was that?
It was about an hour.
It was like an hour.
15 hour 20, somewhere in there, yeah.
Yeah, and we took like maybe one or two breaks the entire time. We were just rolling straight through the hour. So that was really fun.
The one time I saw your face change a little bit. So you saw my face change when this dude got neon bellied. He's very good in that position. But then he flexed in the mirror at that. And I was like, this dude literally has a dominant position and is flexing in the mirror. And there's not much you can do in that position, just being like, stop it, dick.
Yeah.
So then what he did do is he said at one moment, and I wouldn't call it a moment of weakness, but he just goes like, hey, man, do you want to stop for maybe like a water break? And I was like, oh, so you quit? And he goes, no. And I realized, I go, oh, I think we hit the version of him getting flexed on right now.
Yeah. I need my water.
Hey, it's important to stay hydrated. It was just me realizing, I was like, well, I guess a weak guy needs to go get his water now. That's perfectly fine. But what I did realize, though, the whole time we were rolling, you were so incredibly good with your jiu-jitsu, but really fun to hang around and get to know better and see where your jiu-jitsu has evolved. Because I have seen your other fights, I've watched you, and it's hard that a lot of amis don't have information on their social media page, but yours is actually not that difficult. Because if you look at your social media page, the bulk of it is, hey, I fight. Hey, I have all of these grappling matches.
Yeah.
And the other more important thing that will play a role here a little bit later is you love you some cigars.
I do love my cigars. I actually brought some today, by the way. So I've got one for me and one for you. So we'll be doing that.
We'll do that as a second portion of the interview. But for right now, I wanted to say that is so kind of you to bring that, because
of course,
I did ask, like, what is the post celebration? You said it's going to be cigars and music.
Yes, sir.
So I have to ask, did you end up having meat and music later that night with cigars?
I ended up going home like really late, so there was no meat, but there were cigars to be had.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. When you didn't have any meat, because you were trying to tell me it was going to be tri-tip, if I remember correctly, right?
Correct.
Was there like a little part of you that was sad that you didn't have tri-tip?
Well, see, my family cooks meat all the time on the weekend. So
okay.
I knew that if I wasn't going to get any barbecue or any tri-tip that weekend, I just had to wait till next weekend.
Okay.
But I did get the cigar. That's what I cared more about, the cigar, than any of the barbecue. That's for sure.
When you're in camp, is there no cigars?
Yeah. When I'm in fight camp, I like to stay as disciplined as I can. Absolutely no alcohol, no cigars, no vices of any kind.
Mm.
It's just it helps build that discipline.
It does, and it's very fun to then win and then get to kind of enjoy yourself a little bit more. But what people don't understand who don't necessarily fight is by the time you're done that day,
Yeah.
it is late. So that means by the time you travel back from wherever you're fighting, after you've done all the photos, the talking to family members, you might get home at an absurd hour where it's like everything's closed. And when somebody's like, dude, we're going to go home, we're going to make food, we're going to do this, everybody else is like, I'm tired, I'm going to bed. And you go, about that tri-tip though. Yeah. Does somebody want to eat tri-tip, and who's going to make it for me?
Exactly. Yeah, we were late, and my other teammate Bailey, who was on the card, was the main event. He was the last fight, so I got home pretty late that night.
So it's Bailey's fault. Got it.
It is Bailey. Bailey owes me tri-tip.
Bailey, you hear that, brother? Listen, you don't take another man's tri-tip away from him, so you need to make good for this, sir. And I would love to know, like, you and Bailey are good mixes, because even though he's not as tall as you or as big as you, I think those must be really good and fun rounds. And he was crediting you a lot in his build-up, sir.
I love Bailey so much. He's like a brother to me. We had really good rounds in fight camp leading up to this fight. I think that RFL 3 we did, or was that RFL 3? No, okay, yeah, RFL 3 we
or wait 2. So
or this last fight.
So RFL 2, my apologies, was where he made his debut.
Okay, yeah, and this last RFL event 4. Okay, I've got all my numbers mixed up, but I think we both did a really good performance. I think we represented pugilist really well at the last RFL event.
You really did.
Yeah, props to Bailey for really contributing to fight camp, helping me. I like to think that I helped him as much as he helped me in the days leading up to the fight. Yeah, he's cool. He's like a brother, man.
He is, and he's incredibly good at jiu-jitsu as well.
He is.
So he's a friend here, a big friend of the show. And you know, I was telling you a little bit about being able to just roll with him, and now I've rolled with you.
Yeah.
And I do that math, and I'm like, oh my God, who's rolling with you guys? That doesn't seem fun at all, especially as you're getting more dialed in. I had an off-duty roll with you where you're like not getting ready for a fight. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, what does it feel like when you're actually in camp with that savage and you? I go, that's not fun. So God bless your training partners, by the way.
Thank you so much. Yeah, props to the training partners. We abuse them sometimes. No, you didn't hear that from me. Yeah, we have really good rounds. Yeah, I think we probably have some footage somewhere, but you like to see high technical rounds, really good flows and scrambles. You come to Pugilist and you watch us roll. Get ready for a fight. Yeah.
All right. Good to know. So I can only have one of you at a time. I don't know if both of you coming here is going to be a problem for just me, but let's point this out. You got this incredible finish. You got a rear naked choke. What did that feel like? Because we talked immediately in that aftermath, that feeling of elation, it all coming together. You know, you fought previously before, and then you get this incredible momentum, and you know what it feels like to be back in this win column in such a dominant way. So what did it feel like for you to get this win?
It felt really good. It was like the culmination of all the work that I put in training camp. Honestly, the rounds that we put in training camp were harder than the fight itself. And that's how it should be.
Yeah.
You want training camp to be harder than the actual fight. I like grappling. I am a grappler, and so I like having a submission finish. I was thinking about going for more striking centered fight. I did a lot of striking preparation for this fight, but I stuck to my guns, and I really really wanted to secure the win, so that's what happened.
It is the same discipline that you have to put yourself through to get ready for getting rid of your vices, to stick to a game plan. which can be difficult because sometimes people like to say like, nah, I go out there and I do this. And it's like, well, if you're fighting, game plan can be very helpful, especially when you're in trouble. But in that particular fight, you looked great, and it was
Thank
a
you.
solid choice to go out there and do the grappling and stick more to that game plan and do that. And I think you're going to have plenty of experiences in the future. Let's talk about a few things from today. So, first, when you show up here, and I didn't know this about you, my man drives a motorcycle. Talk to me about this. Are you a motorcycle enthusiast, or did you just get this for ease living in California?
For both,
Mm.
for both. I really do like hitting the canyons. Um, yeah, but just being on the freeway, it makes living in LA so much easier. You can find parking everywhere. You can use the HOV. You can split lanes. You're just in and out of traffic so much faster than on a
Yeah.
car. I'd recommend a motorcycle to everybody. Also, because I want more riding friends.
Is that it? You don't have as many riding friends?
No, what's crazy is more and more guys from Pugilist start getting motorcycles. So the gym owner, one of my teammates, Vince, has a bike. Some of the Muay Thai guys have a bike. I've got a bike. So we're trying to get Thor to get a motorcycle.
Oh my god, that does check out. The problem is now, like, Thor, what is a dad?
He is, yeah. I
And-
think he's having his second kid now.
And congratulations, Thor. But it's also like, hey man, it is harder to talk to a family dad now and be like, get a motorcycle. And it's like, bro, I gotta pay for all these diapers. This ain't cheap. Having a kid is not easy.
Oh, I'll bet. I don't have any kids, and I can't imagine how tough that is. To raise
so-
not one but two kids.
Well,
So, hey,
then
props to all the dads out there.
well, then also looking over at his wife and be like, guess what I bought? A motorcycle. Totally cool. So I'm glad that is kind of the way that works out. Well, I didn't know that. I was surprised by that. It was really cool to see. How long have you had motorcycles? And you just kind of touched on it, but like, what is the appeal of a motorcycle for you? Obviously, there's the functionality, but I assume most MMA guys are thrill seekers. So is that part of the appeal as well?
Yeah. Okay. For legal reasons, I'm a safe driver. I'm a safe rider.
Okay.
I ride the speed limit for legal reasons. I need to say that.
Okay.
I am a thrill seeker. That's why I fight.
Mm.
But yeah, the combination of the practicality, it's a pretty bike.
Yeah,
I really like that.
It was a good looking bike. And see, this is not my world. So this stuff is kind of not like, it's not kryptonite. It's just more, sometimes I look at it indifferently and I go, oh, cool, you have a motorcycle. But I do have an interest in like the fact that you're the first person to show up on a motorcycle to
Really?
come
No
train.
way.
I think for these interviews, I might be wrong. I don't know that I've ever seen somebody pop into one of the spots on their motorcycle and then come to train with me for an hour plus. So I was like, oh shit, that's awesome. But this is how dumb I am. I was like, let's get lunch, and would you mind going to pick it up? And you had this look at me, and I've never seen this happen before, but you were just kind of like,
Yeah, I forgot that you forgot that I ride a motorcycle.
why would I remember that, dude?
Yeah.
I just literally, after rolling with somebody for such a long time, you start to get each other's tricks. So really, your brain is so hyper focused
Yeah.
on trying to find whatever edge you can against a very good training partner. So like my brain was jumping off that and now into producer mode, being like, I gotta move all this here, this here. Hey man, do you mind going to get the food? And you're like, not making words. And I go, what? And you're like, I can't. And I go, your motorcycle.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry. That fuck. And then
I
you're
didn't
just
even know
like,
I didn't even know what to say when you asked me that. I kind of had like a brain glitch moment. Yeah, it was almost like I astral projected for a second.
it's so funny. And I felt so
I
bad.
just stood there.
So let me ask this. Is the plan to continue fighting? So what is the next thing? Because for you, you have a good amateur record. You're starting to get into this even more. RFL seemed to like you a lot. And I had told you off air, I was like, I think they had eyes on you. Before I even saw the thing, I was like, I bet you they're going to bring him on. I have a feeling. And then lo and behold, you were on the card.
I was super honored to be on the RFL card, and I'd love to fight for them again in April. The goal for me is to ideally do something in this weight division, the welterweight division, whether that's fighting for a title, doing a title fight for RFL, or I fought for UNF in the past, maybe doing another shot at the UNF title. But ideally, I want to do something in this weight class and then make that jump to go pro. That's the goal.
Awesome. I mean, I feel like you are shaping up nicely to that goal.
Thank you very
And I
much.
feel like you do have the right team. So
By far,
those are
absolutely.
important factors because sometimes there's really promising talent that doesn't necessarily have the right team, or they piece it together 20 different ways that you go, hey man, you need one primary team and cross training can help you, but you really do need like a home. And that can be a major difference maker for what I consider very good talent. And I think you're very good talent that has a great team. So that's a lot of stuff that works in your favor for what I refer to as the unpredictables. So you never know who the opponents are. You don't know how things change. I couldn't have told you RFL was going to exist 8 months ago because I didn't know. And then once I saw them here, I go, oh, they're servicing a great part of like the Thousand Oaks ish, Westlake Hills, for us here in Woodland Hills. Having something like that out here was a missing component because we were talking about all the different organizations, and I've worked for a few and covered many of them. But sometimes they're like, we're in La Jolla. And you go, oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
those long distance drives to those events that just kind of take the soul out of you. And there's also a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent in the Westlake, Thousand Oaks, Simi Valley area. There really is. So it's cool to have a like a promotion that kind of hosts these events in that area.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful for that.
And you should be, in the sense that it's a great display for you and your team. So Bailey getting a prominent part of that card being the main event looks incredible for only his second fight and is already a main event. Not only just from a draw perspective, but as an actual like fighter, looks right at home there.
By far, I was super proud of Bailey when he did that fight. And you know, it is my opinion. Maybe I'm biased because he's my teammate. I thought he won that fight. I really did. But I'm win or lose. Even if I lost, I'm happy to represent Pugilist. I was glad we got to represent them.
I feel like for Bailey, the main thing that I thought that was good to come from it is I'm like, hey man, if you're gonna have any kind of loss, those are the ones that will motivate you and that you get out of your system as an amateur. So like you don't want that loss as a pro because it does weigh more on you. When you're an amateur, people say they care about your record. By and large, we really don't care until you make pro. It's just like a fancy GPA. So if I ask you right now, like, hey, bro, what was your GPA in high school? You'd be like, go fuck yourself. Who cares? I am an older man now. That does not matter.
I had a 3.9 GPA in high school, but
fuck
nobody's
outta here.
counting.
Wait, hold on.
No, it's not.
A 3.9?
Yeah, and then I dropped out of college.
Yeah, no shit. We were talking about that.
Marine Corps. Yeah.
Wow, look at this guy. First of all, overachiever. Nobody needed a 3.9. You know what? Hold on. This is the reverse of my scenario I was bringing up. I was like, nobody wants to bring up their GPA. And he's like, actually, I kind of do right now.
Yeah, we're scratching that from the podcast.
It's all right. Now I know I can call you a nerd. So take that.
All right. I'll live up to that. I'll live up to that name.
I mean, so for you, now you have this experience behind you. You're looking at hopefully to fight on the next card, if not sometime in the near future. And for all of that, I think it is important to get to know a little bit about your background. So where does jiu-jitsu or combat sports enter your life, sir?
So in high school, I kind of got into a couple of fights. I got into a couple of street fights. In the Marine Corps, I got into a couple of fights with some other Marines.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of butted heads with a lot of people when I was younger. I think I'm more mature now, but when I was in the Marine Corps, I knew also that a lot of the guys that knew how to fight, nobody would really mess with them. You get a lot of like, for lack of better words, street cred in the Marine Corps if you know how to fight, whether that's boxing or jiu-jitsu or grappling, and like doing wrestling with my friends in high school and just scrapping in high school, the street fights. I knew the grappling has always benefited me significantly. And so, yeah, in the Marine Corps, I joined a jiu-jitsu gym. Carlson Carlson. Why am I blanking? Oh my god,
Carlson Gracie.
Carlson Gracie.
Mhm.
That we did a. I was with 10th Planet for a little bit in Arizona, and then when I moved back to LA, I jumped around to a couple of gyms. I still stayed doing jujitsu. I competed, and when I was doing well in the tournaments in competition, I was like, "Oh, I want to take this up to the next level," because when there's this running thing in the MMA sphere that jujitsu matches aren't real fights, and so I was like, okay, I want to see what jujitsu's like in a real fight, the application.
Mhm.
So I did. Um, yeah, and I won my first two fights. One by TKO, and then the second one by submission. So the last one, my last fight was a win uh, by submission. So it's always satisfying to get a submission win. I'm thinking hopefully in the next fight that's by knockout.
I
Okay.
want you to look at this photo. This photo, the amount of laughs that I got.
Yeah. So I in the fight I took his back
Mhm.
and uh, I think I saw somebody in the audience when I took his back, and I was just like, I had to stick my tongue out because I was like, I think I've got this locked in. If I take his back, uh, in the red room where we're training,
Mhm.
I knew I was talking to my coaches that if I take his back, I think it's a lock. I think if I work on my if I use my grappling, that I'm going to win. And when I took his back, I was like, this has got to be the end of the fight right here. And I stuck my tongue out, and I saw a bunch of people in the audience were cheering, and so I stuck my tongue out more, and then I jumped on his back and went for the rear naked choke. So that's
Well,
what
that
happened.
is kind of why it was so entertaining. You mentioned being in these street fights and being kind of a hooligan kid.
Yeah.
How did you do this? Because you aren't that kid anymore. So,
No.
like, it is a great advertisement for martial arts that you were able to really put it together. You're incredibly nice. You were incredibly gracious. You even bringing a gift, even though we're having fun rounds that are difficult, they're still within the realm of play. And that's where I go, oh, this guy's like really cool. So, how's this kid getting into street fights when he was a kid?
I didn't go out looking for I didn't go out looking for problems. It's
Okay.
just when people had a problem with me, my personalities, I'm like very self-confident. I'm confident in who I am, but if somebody doesn't like me, I'm not gonna bend over backwards to try to please that person
Mm-hmm.
or to be accommodating to them. If you don't like me and you have a problem with me, that's your issue. And
Mm-hmm.
if things escalate, well, I'm gonna
You're going to see it
stand
through.
10 toes down.
Yeah, yeah. It's wild to me because I see who you are and I have a hard time trying to figure out where that disconnect would be. So, yeah, sure, we were all young once, but I do wonder how different you had to have been as a 3.9 GPA student, aka nerd. So that's the disconnect. And also, I don't know if you know this, but not a ton of 3.9 GPA guys are going out there beating up people. So just pointing that out.
Oh, fair enough. I bet there are. I bet there are. They just don't
No,
advertise it.
no, I'm willing to bet money on that. It's a
Really?
smaller percentage. I think it's like 80-20. And so
Probably,
I would
maybe.
probably see a lot of these nerds being, because, bro, I never got into a fight. I had a pretty good GPA. I won't mention it just so that you can look good. But I was pretty good. I played both sports and did academics. And to the nerds, I was a jock. And to the jocks, I was a nerd. So it was a very strange, weird middle section that I said, I'm just going to own it and I'll be cool. Like, I don't mind either way. But I would see some of these guys who were like nerds. This is even before like jujitsu and all that world or learning how to fight. And sure, a couple of them could kind of okay fight, but by and large, most academics usually say, like, why are we getting into a fight? Or I don't need this, dude. Like, I have to go to Harvard. I don't have time for this. Like, for me, I was like, bro, I feel like I'm going to get into a fight. My mouth is too smart. Never got into a fight. So I lucked out in that way. All right. What do you remember about your very first jujitsu class, sir?
Oh, it's because it's kind of funny. I remember being kind of spastic and wild. Um, It was with the 10th Planet guys
Mhm.
back in Arizona, and they're you know what, they're pretty understanding. They're pretty chill and trying to let me work. It's actually not as interesting of a story just because they were like letting me work. They're trying to explain things to me. I had really good teammates way back when,
Mm,
so I was able to pick things up pretty quickly.
nice.
I didn't really hurt or injure myself. I don't have any embarrassing stories, sadly, but
That's
no,
okay.
I had a really good team, really good support back in Arizona. So
Well, like sights, smells, scenes, like build that for me. What did that first day and experience at a gym look like? Because you were taking some variations of that world of jiu-jitsu while you were in the Marines. So then you make this adjustment to going more to the classes. What did it feel like? Because you had a taste of it, but 10th planets are their own beast in
yeah,
every single gym. They all have their own personalities. So what was the vibe and the feel that you were picking up from the sights and sounds?
a lot of the guys were a little bit older, so they're
Mhm.
like older bald guys with like the old man strength, you know. So they you learn like rubber guard really quickly. You learned um De La Hiva really quickly. You learn a lot of that stuff. A lot of the fun things about 10th Planet is like kind of if you know nothing about 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu is like those like the tricky little moves that just make you feel stupid when you get caught in them. That's what's really attractive to me about 10th Planet.
Nice. And you were very aware of the 10th planet things I was throwing at you today. So
Oh yeah,
props to the good friends over there. Which 10th planet were you going to out that way?
10th Planet Yuma.
Yuma. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Hello. Good to see you guys. We have friends all over the place. So very cool to hear. I'm going to ask this question. It's really important because it helps us start to connect the next parts for you.
For sure.
Where did you fall in love with jiu-jitsu? Like what made you do it in a way that it's more than just a hobby?
My first tournament probably. I remember being like the day before, so it was like a week of training with my coach. My coach was like, "We're not a lot of people who are going to show up to this tournament. Just show up. Like
Mm-hmm.
they get out of bed and go to this tournament. We're going to do like a training camp for your first tournament."
Nice.
And I was like, "All right, let's do this." Um, that's where I first learned Kesagatami, which now you know he that I got two submissions in that tournament via Kesagatami, and I was like, oh, this is like the goated move, and that's where I first started using that.
This guy is so annoying in this position. I cannot emphasize this enough. I think 25% of my day was fighting just that one position. And I was telling him I have a policy, which is if you're really good at something, I try to go into that position. Not thinking I'm going to survive it or like I got to prove something. I just want to see what your specialty is. So on your social media profile, when it says your nickname is Kessa, I
Yeah,
go, well, I guess I know what I got to go into.
yeah,
And lo and behold, the minute he got it the very first time, he's like, oh boy. And I go, oh
yeah.
no, this is terrible. I have to make sure. And I just downloaded it. And I go, not again. And my man was trying. And he does this thing where when he gets into that position and he's got kind of like that headlock, the way you were looking back to scoop up one of my legs is I was like, no, it's not happening.
I'm
Now I've
notorious
learned.
for that in my gym.
Just it's so funny that your brain system was so good that at one point, because you're so used to that position, you tried attacking my legs. And I was like, brother, this is my fault. I think that's a bad choice, and you're gonna lose your balance here. Because otherwise, just phenomenal. And you were able to get one of those finishes, I believe, in your fights. So
Yeah,
that has to be a really cool thing to be able to hit your signature move there.
for sure. My first fight was TKO from Keza. I was just throwing
Oh
hammer
God,
fists from there.
no, no!
Yeah,
Thank God
that's
we aren't fighting.
yeah.
Because one thing that you did do that you and I talked about, but like after every reset of a position, if I got, say, out of underneath side control and I got to like butterfly hooks and I was seated up, my man would have his hands like this. And I go, I'm not going to hit
Yeah.
you. And he goes, no, no, no. It's just,
It's
it's
instinct.
a habit.
It's instinct.
And I
Yeah.
go, right, but I'm not going to hit you. So I don't feel you have anything to fear here. And then I just realized I was like, oh, he probably does need this. So I don't want to take this away. But to me, it was so it feels like it's more you thinking that's what I would do to you. And I was like, I'm not doing that to you. He put me 2 more times in his Kesa position, and I go, maybe I might start hitting
Yeah.
you. That's what and at one point, I don't even know if you caught this. I did have a fist kind of come
I
toward
do
your face.
remember that. I do remember.
What
that.
did you think when I did that?
I was like, thank God he threw it at like 1% because he made contact with my jaw. I was like, that would have left a mark if he was throwing that at 100%.
Well, I think of it like this. If there's not like a gentleman's agreement that strikes are going to be involved, there's no way I'm really striking you.
That's true.
But if you're doing this, I was like, well, I think we should justify this. And then he put like 1,000,000 tons of pressure in that side. And I go, yeah, I think I'm going to hit him now. I think I really have to do that. So yeah, I really did try to make it 1%.
The nuclear option.
Hey. Well, the other part is you might put 1 and 1 together here, people. Yes, these are prescription, but my boy has a little bit of a mouse.
Oh, I do. I don't know if you can see. There
You
we go.
barely see it, but yeah, over on the left side, right?
Yes, sir. On the left side.
So it's a little bit of a mouse.
A little bit of a mouse.
But I did tell him when we went to go get food, I was like, full disclosure, if you were pushing me too hard, it's just going to target that area.
Yeah, it becomes a bullseye.
100% was just going to be like, oh, did this elbow pressure suddenly find its way to your eye? Now, I know we talked a little bit about the fights, and my brother, it looks like you're competing quite regularly. And the updates you were putting on those old tournaments as I was scrolling through them, is I was like, we got it done today, people. We did this. And I was like, no, I know he's competitive, but do you have a favorite grappling memory thus far in?
I've done 2 absolute division nogi tournaments for Golden Federation, and those were at blue belt, and I felt really proud of those because I think all except for like 1 were submission finishes, and it's always cool to get like a belt. It's always fun to win a belt. So this year I'm trying to go for a purple belt. I think winning 2 what's it called, absolute belts at blue belt is speaks volumes to me that I'm ready to go up a division. So that's what I'm gonna do.
I mean, you have photos. I've pulled up one here of you sitting at the top of the throne with the belt.
Yes,
and
sir,
I'm like, yeah, I could see you wanting to do that more often. Like, that's a dude who's like, yeah, sign me up for that absolute. I'm gonna do it one more time.
Yes, sir. I like to do jiu-jitsu tournaments in between my fights. That keeps me active. That keeps me fresh in terms of knowing how to scramble properly, how to just how to move, how to maintain top control. Jiu-jitsu without punches is different than just MMA, but a lot of like the takedowns and stuff still has real application. So I really like to compete when I'm in between fight camps. I do like to look at like potential opponents and see what their game plan is. I think it doesn't hurt to be prepared, see what they're going to try to throw at you. I also believe that you should be confident in your own instincts. I feel pretty confident with the grappling. Like in this last fight, like I felt pretty confident. Jiu-jitsu is my bread and butter. So if worst case scenario, or I feel overwhelmed in an MMA fight, that I always have the jiu-jitsu in my back pocket.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because it is also full disclosure here, and this is what a small world it is. The opponent that you beat ended up coming to my class on Monday. So
that's crazy.
It
small
is
world, man.
Incredibly small world. And
the grappling class?
Yeah, the grappling class. So the grappling class I teach, they were like, hey, he's here. And I was like, oh, he just fought this weekend. And I didn't know what to do for this one regard, which is I had already booked you. So I was like, whoa, this is kind of weird. But okay, I mean, I'm going to teach him.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if he gets choked out, that means he kind of needs to take a grappling class or something,
for sure. And for me, there's a bit of respect where I say, hey, man, you got choked out at a fight, but you're here Monday. Respect. So the only thing that was hard for me to do that day, I usually take Q&A at the top of my class. And I was just hoping he would bring it up and not me. because I was like, anybody have any questions
Yeah.
from any of your training
How do
over
you
the week?
escape a rear naked choke?
And I legit was hoping he would, because I started thinking, I was like, I don't know if I want our game plan to be today, because I didn't come in thinking I'm going to teach rear naked choke
Yeah.
escapes. But I go, your particular one is a late stage escape. So it's really hard to escape that one, especially if somebody has been setting you up for a while. But anyway, when he came in, super respectful, rolled with our guys, was really nice. I at least wanted to put it out there. And I think because he was just visiting, it's the first time I've ever seen him at our gym. And he didn't want to disrupt the boat. But I would have been happy to be like, hey, man, maybe I have some thoughts. Or maybe here's how we should be doing this if we're in a bad situation or a spot. So it would have been funny. There might have been a scenario where I would have had to deconstruct your choke and be like, well, actually, here's this and this and this. Because what he doesn't know now, after we've rolled, I'll be like, oh, actually, he didn't get anywhere near my neck in that way. So maybe I am the guy to talk to there, sir. And I know we joked about this off air, but when I saw you throwing up these savage lines, like, were you quoting like scripture or something the day before?
Yeah, no,
What were you
I don't even
quoting the day
remember.
before?
I don't even remember where I heard that. I've got a list in my phone of like badass quotes, whether I hear it from a movie or a book I read or a video game. I like to have my list of quotes in my notes app. So usually when I post something, I'll take one of the random notes from my notes app and insert it in the comments.
Well, I saw that as you were going into your fight. So you had like a weigh-in photo, and then you said,
Yeah.
okay. And I was like,
I said, when I raise the sword, I pray this poor sinner receives eternal life. Yeah, there's no way I was gonna lose after posting
yeah,
that.
I gotta be honest with you, dude. I don't know if I want to fight you when you're posting that shit. I saw that go up and I was like, damn, bro, okay.
Yeah, there's no way I was gonna lose after posting.
Well, let's ask this. Can I hear a couple that you've got in there?
Yeah,
Hit me with a couple, because now you have my ears pierced and I want to see what it is that you're writing down, because that's a pretty solid line. And here's what I can tell you. I know you're fighting. I look down, I look at my phone, I see you put that up from your weigh-in, and you quote it, and I just did this. Oh man, okay, that is cold. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've got all kinds of quotes. So I have two. I've got quotes to remember and then like captions, like a list of captions.
Okay.
Which oh, we'll do captions.
Okay, hit me with the caption.
So I've got together we'll devour the very gods. No one will hold me captive. Thy strength befits a crown. I think a lot of these are already on my Instagram.
Okay.
Emboldened by the flame of ambition.
Where's that from?
Oh, so a lot of these are actually from the Elden Ring.
No shit.
Yeah, from the Elden Ring video games. That's probably one of my favorite video games of all time. Oh my gosh, I could talk for hours about that game.
No way.
Yeah, so when you meet one of the bosses, they always deliver like these hard, tough ass lines, and I was like, it's going in the notes app. Right before I gotta fight this boss, I gotta put it in the notes app. So going and fighting in the MMA cage often feels like that. It's like if you've ever played like a Souls like game,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like there's like really high stakes in it, and it's like MMA is really like that. So it's like puts you in the mindset of you post like a quote from the game, and you're like, all right, it's like if I lose, it's like I die and I lose all of my resources. So it's kind of like that. And then if you win, it's like the huge, the euphoria of winning.
Yeah. I mean, well, thank you for sharing that, because to me, I looked at it, I thought it was a great line, and then I was immediately curious. But I also want to know this now. Has people hit you up and been like, yo, that's hard, where's it from?
I think, yeah, two people hit me up about the raising the sword quote. Yeah. I don't even remember where I heard that. I think it was probably from a book.
Okay.
But yeah, and this is why I put it in my notes app, because I'll hear this hard, tough ass quote, and I'll be like, I'm gonna forget this if I don't write it down. So.
Absolutely. And you know what? God bless technology in that way, because there's plenty of stuff that I have to go, nope, notes app. I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm not going to remember
Yes.
this. And I've got a good memory for a lot of things. Like, you will be surprised in maybe 2-3 years, I will reference things that happened during today's roll from memory.
That's good.
Just
Yeah,
because I
that's
can
good.
do
That's good.
that with specific people enrolling. But I used to compete in speech and debate. And if you ask me to talk about the lines from that speech, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it's gone.
Yeah.
I I remember the jokes. I remember this part or this part, and we used to have to know them line by line perfectly.
I love the notes app. I use it for MMA too.
Do you
Like
really?
I've got so many notes on just like on my weight
Oh
cuts,
shit!
on just for notes for my new fights,
Nice.
standing grappling information,
Hold on. Let's go
bottom
to this
half
bottom
guard
half
escape.
guard escape because I
Okay.
need that for the next time for us.
All right, let me know if you can understand
Hold on,
any
hold
of
on.
this.
Let me say, if you're on top, put his armpit instead of crossface so he can't bench your hips in the air and replace guard. That's a pretty good note.
Do you know what
I
you know
do.
what I mean by that?
I
Okay,
do.
good.
Because I'm trying to figure
I
out.
have these notes written so that I understand. Like OPP means opponent, so
Right,
I've
right.
got it
If
like
op,
chicken scratch.
yeah, no, you're good. Get these. Push it away. Okay, good. I'm just listening.
Yeah,
Hold
I've
on.
got like really good jujitsu fundamental notes in there. I've got striking notes in
Going to
there.
a
I take
dog
notes
fight
on
and
everything.
grab it now. Okay, so this dog fight is what I don't tend to do a ton. If opponent chest is down, push it. Okay, all right. I'm making notes. Hold on.
Yeah.
Just gonna do one of these real
Take a
quick.
screenshot.
Oh yeah, no, I'm
Yes,
just
sir.
listen, bro.
I was doing this too in pugilist. A lot of the like the newer grapplers, I was giving them my notes. I was
That's
like,
awesome.
dude, instead of having to figure it out the hard way and then like taking a break from jujitsu for a week and like trying to remember everything. No, it's like I think of tournaments and fights like studying for a test.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not. I know some students are going in trying to raw dog a test, just hopes and dreams. But no, if you're actually studying for a test, you're taking notes. You're trying to see where the gaps in your knowledge is, and so just by writing notes, I can see where what my focus is on and the things that I've missed.
I used to, at my very beginning, only see guys who seemed to be doing tournaments for their ego. So it was a
Oh,
long time
interesting.
before I saw somebody, and they might have been doing it for the right reasons, but it always looked more like an ego competition. And I was never interested in that. I was more interested in the how do I apply what I don't know I need to do. And then you go out there, you find certain problems and holes. And that's where I started to get it like more interested in grappling. So we were doing years for my friends competing, and I just had no interest. And then finally one year I was like, all right, I'll do it now because these kids want to do it.
Yeah.
But to me, I was just like, it's not winning just to have a trophy. It's like, what did you do? And what did you learn? And how do you apply it? Because the trophy will come and go. And I had like when I was moving from my parents' place, I remember throwing out all my trophies, and then they showed back up on my wall, and I was like, "What is that?" And they're like, "No, you don't want to throw those out."
Yeah.
And I remembered being like, "Yeah, I do. I'm done." Like, what do I learn from being 6 years old and winning a little league tournament? We can throw that one away. And they're like, "No, it's cute." And I go, "No, I don't want to be a dude that's living off glory from when I was 10 or 8." But for this, I started seeing a lot more people who were doing it to be scientists and be better rather than just like these guys who, I mean, listen, bro, you want a belt, so you can pose and like flex on them hoes with that. But that to me was when I would start working with people. I'd be like, all right, cool. Do you want to win or do you want to be good? And they'd always tell me stuff. And I'd be like, cool. Do you want to do both? And they're like, I want to do both.
Yeah. Why
I was
not
like,
both?
why not both? I go, but it takes a serious approach to get that. So I think the first way to really learn is how do you make it fun? How do you make it refillable so that every new challenge is something that you're trying to conquer when you go up that hill?
Yeah, yeah, well put, man. Uh, I really like to win. I've got in my wall. I don't know if I have a picture on my phone, but on my wall, I have like an achievement wall.
Nice.
So anytime I finish something or I get a certification or like all of my jujitsu medals I have posted on my wall, all of my like my military awards and stuff like
Nice.
that I've got posted. So I think it's important to celebrate your achievements. I
Yes, sir.
think it's good to have a place in your home or in your life to celebrate your achievements.
I think that is also important. I can't. Well, let's put it this way: from my experience, when I compete on a national level, I kept the national title stuff. So I
Okay.
was like, that's different. Like, all right, that's kind of cool.
You should
But
keep all of them, man. You should keep all of
brother,
your.
I promise you this. One day you're gonna have to move. I promise you this. One day, if you had trophies at your parents' place, maybe that's not your home anymore. And then you're just stuck looking at things that you're supposed to donate, give away, look at it. You keep staring at it and being like, do I keep this? Why do I keep this? This is a bowling trophy from when I was 10. I don't need that anymore. So I think it's important to keep the ones that matter to you. But one thing I did come up with here, every jiu-jitsu medal in this gym is mine.
Okay, I like
Because
that.
I said,
The Naga one too.
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So what I did was I was like, I'm going to put it in the place where it matters to me. And I don't even put it up on my social media. I don't make reference to it. But what I do is I come in here and I'll tell the guys how it went. Or I think for that one, I didn't tell anybody I did that tournament and I just left it on the table. And they like walked in. They're like, who did that? And they started like going through and they're like, did coach go do that? Like show up and we transition classes and they're like, did you do that, coach? And I was like, yeah, it's cool. All right, let's get back to work.
Yeah.
And they were just like, what? I go, you should be proud of yourself. But my reason is for you guys. And you know, that's all that matters to me. Like, I don't care if anybody else thinks it's cool. And unfortunately, when you're a show and you have a lot of followers that are strangers, you're going to get lots of people who are like, bro. And I'm like, you don't know me. Like, what are you doing? I don't need this for just like aura, as the kids might say. I want it from the people who it matters to. So what I did was I was like, I'm going to donate all my stuff here. So that way, if they ever say, we're going to throw it out, I'll be like, okay, I'll do it in 5 years if you don't. So it's good to me that it has more purpose that way.
I like having the medals. I like being able to remember the achievements. I also like taking footage. I always make sure I can get footage of my
Are you a big
of my
tape study
trainings.
person?
Not for others. I mean, I will look at other people's tape. You know, why not? If
But
you
for
have that
yours.
resource, I like that for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you're instantly gonna see all the things you do wrong when you look at
Yeah.
tape. Yeah, so I think it's really important for me just objectively looking at the things I did wrong.
Smart.
It's hard too, especially when you lose. I hate looking at tape of myself when I lose because I go, oh my, I face palm. I go, oh my god, why didn't I do this or that? You know, hindsight is a bitch. You know.
Yeah. I feel like that's an important thing to learn how to navigate as well. Because when I look at that tape, I almost become other body. Like I almost go outside of myself and I just go like, what are we doing? No, we need to fix this, this, and this. And man, honestly, if I've ever been beaten, I haven't been submitted in competition except for one guy. And that is a dude named JP, Jean Paul, who's now in the UFC. So I feel like it's not a bad record.
Yeah.
But that means I've lost on points in really shitty ways. So won some, lost some, but the ones that I've lost, it's so easy to just say, well, I didn't get submitted. I'm like, well, this dude scored 10 points, so we got to fix that.
Yeah.
And when I watch that footage, I just look at it as objectively as I can. And what I've tried to do with our guys is I've been like, all right, tell me what I should have done. Because then I like hearing their brains start to work in that way. Yeah. And it's big, man, because there's a lot of stuff you can always do better. But I like two things. I like breaking the mythology that like coach is like this mythical being. And I go, no, I'm just human, bro. Like there are some days I pull guard and this dude's already passed. Yeah. Sucks. But then there are days when the real accomplishment is now building a team and working with these guys and having them go out and have incredible success that you know they're capable of. So that's why to me it's like medals are cool, but I feel like programs and people and that sort of stuff are like these lasting memories. But you telling me that you do that footage is something I hardcore relate to. My students went to go compete at RFL for the very first time without me.
Oh, okay, wow.
It was incredible. Normally I'm right there with them. And I make it a policy, if it's your first time competing, you have my preference. I will be there for you. I'm so sorry. I'll be there for everybody else. But if I have to pick between two, it's the new guy first.
Yeah.
And so I told them way, way in advance. I was like, yo, February 21st, I'm busy. One of our guys was like, yo, coach, are you available on February 21st? I was like, did you not listen to me? You know what? You deserve this. So he signs up and he's going to do it by himself. And I said, hey, I'd love it if one more person goes with you. just so you have a buddy. And they went to go compete, and the dude who signed up won his tournament.
Wow.
And I
There you
said,
go.
dope, that's amazing. And he goes, don't worry, coach, we got footage, because normally I'm recording the footage. And Jiu-Jitsu World League also has footage too, but it usually takes them like 2 weeks to get that up.
Forever.
So they came to me and they're like, can we do tape study on Monday night? And I was like, you won, you want to do tape study? That's my people, come here. They sent me the tape and I go, the fuck is this? Who shot this on a Nokia from 2021?
Exactly.
Like, what is this?
Yeah.
They're like, what do you mean? I was like, 4K.
Yeah.
I send you shit in 4K. What? This offends me.
Yeah.
And it's all pixelated. And I'm just like, what setting do you have on your phone? Why is it not 4K?
Yeah.
Especially for 5 to 6 minute matches. I want pristine quality. I was like, look at what I've sent you guys when you compete, and look at what you sent me. And they're like, we just want a tape study. I was like, I'm mad because I can't even look at it. And then we tape studied, and they were actually really good. I was very proud of them.
There you go.
What actually made me prouder was one of my guys was coaching, and he was doing a nice mix of what I would do, which was good information, and if you weren't doing it, roasting them. Like, oh, no, all right, well, don't do that if you don't want. So I was like, that's how I would coach. So I feel that. All right, sir. We have done the first part.
Yes, sir.
I think we need to go to the outside. I got to probably take a couple of these lights, go down that way. What can you tell me before we go? Because you are an experienced guy at this.
Yeah.
The last time I had a cigar was when my buddy got married. I want to say his wedding weekend, the night before. And it's one of the first times I've ever had a cigar.
Wow.
So when you offered, I was like, well, I have to do that. But
for sure, yeah. This is how I celebrate. This is how I celebrate wins. And if I lose, there's a consolation cigar. But
hold on. What is the difference between a consolation cigar and a post-win cigar?
They're the same cigar.
It just tastes and feels different. All right, so I'm gonna tell you this. You have more experience in this world. What is the best advice? Do you have somebody who is newer at this world? Like, what do I need to keep in mind as I'm doing this, as somebody who doesn't smoke, period, but has enjoyed the cigar when I've had it in the past?
Don't inhale.
Don't inhale?
Yeah.
So
it's like the best analogy I have for this is like if you are drinking milk or Sprite through a straw, you have it kind of like in your mouth, but you don't swallow the Sprite, right? So it's like you kind of inhale enough for it to be in your mouth. You let the flavor absorb through your mouth, the nicotine absorb through your mouth, and then you exhale. But you don't breathe it into your lungs. Okay. Because it's pure tobacco, so you're going to cough a storm.
No shit.
Yeah.
Dude. As it is, I've already just been coughing talking to you. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case. All right. So it's basically just residing in the mouth for a second, and then you just release that.
Exactly.
Okay, I think I can do that. But see, I didn't have anybody explaining it to me. It was
hey, I'm your man.
Well, thank you. But I just had me and my bros being like, we're just smoking a cigar because you're getting married tomorrow, bro. What's that feel like? And I remember going to bed and being like, are we all going to a wedding like this? And to everybody else, I'm sure it's normal. But to us, it's like, we don't do this. So we all show up at the wedding, and I'm like in a suit, and I'm like, I can still sell the cigar. I'm in my fucking suit. I think this works, but I want a cigar now. So, all right. Well, why don't we go out there and we will explain how that segment goes.
Sweet. Let's get started.
Let's do it.
Here is your cigar, sir.
Beautiful. Thank you, sir.
That Bottom Betty is a delicious cigar. It's very sweet.
Okay.
So I really
You think that this will go well for like a earlier timer or a beginner?
For sure.
Beautiful. And then did you already cut and do all that?
No, it's not cut yet. We've got a hole punch to cut in the top.
Understood. All right. Walk me through all this world, sir. Okay.
What you do is you'll take the hole punch, and just punch just a regular little hole in the top.
Okay. So take the hole punch right over here.
Yeah, it's easier to hold the cigar like this. Yeah, and then just center.
Right here?
There, yeah. And just hole punch, kind of twist.
Feels like I'm breaking it there. Okay.
Is
that all right?
Yeah, that's fine. Just pull it out. And then we have either matches or we have a lighter. And what happens is when I light this, I'm going to rotate the cigar.
Yes, sir.
Like that. So I'll show you how I do it.
Please.
I don't know if you can see it.
Okay.
Since we don't have a torch, it might be just easier to
Do it in hand and kind of move it like that.
Yeah.
But I see you kind of move it up and around when you do that then.
Yeah, you just want to make sure the whole thing is covered.
Copy that.
So slowly you start to inhale while you light it.
Okay.
There you go, keep going. One long inhale. One. There we go.
Oh, that is nice.
There we go. Let me know if you need to relight too.
I will in a second, I think.
Okay.
But you're right, it is sweet. I picked that up.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's delicious, man.
It's like a nice-ass dessert when you do
Yeah.
that. I'll take a little bit more, I think, of a light. So who got you into doing this?
Okay, so cigars are really big in my family. My family's really traditional and conservative.
Mm-hmm.
So on the weekends, the men in our family, like I was talking about the barbecue, we'll go out to the barbecue
Mm-hmm.
and we'll make the meat. We'll cook the meat out in the barbecue,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll We'll light cigars. We'll have like a drink or something, and we'll be playing music, and the women inside will either be cleaning or will be helping with a dinner preparation on the inside, and they'll be gossiping inside, and the men will be gossiping outside, but
in their way.
in their way.
With cigars.
Exactly. If you need to light that again,
Please.
yeah, just inhale
Okay.
while
Okay. Inhaling that will help it stay.
yeah. There we go. There we go. Oh yeah. Perfect. My uncle's been smoking cigars for years. My family, all of my uncles have.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in the Marine Corps and I could legally smoke cigars, I picked that up anytime we were out in the field, or anytime there was like something like an accomplishment, like we accomplished a big task or something like that would be a cause for a cigar. Or if somebody got married or something, we'd smoke a cigar. Or if there's a mission or some sort of objective that we needed to accomplish, the reward for finishing that was a cigar. So when I went and started doing MMA, obviously
You
the
have
winning
cause for
condition-
celebration.
The cause for celebration is
Even
is
when you
cigar.
lose, apparently.
Even when I lose, there's a consolation cigar too.
Have you done this after training a bunch?
I might do it on a weekend, like after training, sometimes, especially if we're celebrating or if we have a reason to celebrate. But my rule is if I'm in fight camp, no cigars.
Right. I just wonder, because you're a guy who's also won some grappling tournaments. Does that also happen as a
Yeah,
reward?
for sure.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what? If there's a reason to smoke a cigar, we're smoking. We smoke cigar. My family smokes cigars for like graduating, for graduations, for weddings, for funerals, anything is a reason to smoke.
What does a funeral cigar feel like? Do you have to like match it like you're doing like pairing wine or something?
No, not particularly. Just whatever you're feeling, I guess. My uncle likes diamond crowns,
Okay.
and those are kind of they're kind of powerful.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, and it's kind of hard to smoke those.
What makes them difficult? Is it just hard to take it in, or do you just
The-
find yourself kind of like,
So-
oh, it's very pungent, or like what is it?
So most of the wrapper is 90% of the flavor of a cigar is coming from the wrapper. Those wrappers, they just have a lot of flavor.
What was your first cigar experience like?
It was really good. I think
And how old were you? Because you said underage cigars. Yeah. So now it got me thinking. I was like, well, how old are we talking?
When I was, I think I was probably 20. I had a Monte Cristo White.
Okay, that
And
I do know.
It's a very simple, plain cigar. It's not incredibly powerful, but there's not a whole lot of flavor
Okay.
in those. But it's a nice starting cigar. But it's also it's not like a Brick House, which is like a $5 shitty cigar, like, you know. But it's a good starting cigar.
Well, your family's starting you off with like class. They don't want you to just buy some bullshit.
Exactly.
What is the best cigar you've ever had?
I like a Davidoff crew. I like a Gurkha Ghost.
You like a what?
I like a Gurkha Ghost.
Okay.
Um, another cigar that I really like would be, I really like the Cellar Reserve cigars. I really like Liga Privada. They're smaller and they're like $30 for like a 3-inch cigar, but they are the most delicious cigars you've ever had.
So I'm learning a few things.
Yes, sir.
Just in terms of how it is a little bit of suck and blow at the same time,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, and with the cigar, I know yours. You're not your draws. You can do like a deeper draw. So
Okay.
Like a 2-3 second draw. Like a.
Well, I'm seeing
You
your
can do that.
ash, and I'm just like, damn, bro. I'm not only behind, but I'm
It's
just
not
trying.
a race. It's not a race.
Whoa. It's not a race. It's just comparison of like, all right, am I in the realm?
You're doing well. You're doing well. Just take like 4-second draws.
Okay.
And oftentimes, if I don't get enough flavor, like in the first draw, I'll just redraw as soon as I exhale. So it'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4 again.
What's fascinating to me about this is I'm having to learn how to be an interviewer while learning something at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
So it's
that's
literally like
interesting.
me
Yeah.
just being like, how do you what is your favorite childhood
Yeah.
memory? Because you look like sometimes this is doing like a solo mission. Is it always with company, or are you doing it sometimes just by yourself?
I enjoy to smoke a cigar by myself sometimes. I like to like listen to music, or I'll listen to a podcast too. And
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
And I'll sit back. I'll sit back in my chair, and I'll smoke a cigar. It's a nice, relaxing ritual, I guess.
I will tell you this. I believe the nicotine is kind of slowly just calming my brain. So I see why people do it. Because the first time it happened, because I don't smoke at all, I remembered having a slight headache the next day.
Yeah, some cigars have a lot of nicotine in them. Some aren't too bad. Yeah, some will give you a huge head rush, but the Fat Bottom Betty, I think, is pretty good. It's
No,
not
this
too
is
bad.
legitimately, honestly, and I don't know, I can't talk ill of my friends, so I couldn't tell you if I knew. But I feel like you know more than we did when we were doing this. Now, granted, my buddies all smoke pot as well, and so I had to trust them in that world. I was like,
I've never done drugs. I've never done weed. I've never done marijuana.
okay.
Just my friends never did that, like in high school. And then when I was in the Marine Corps, there's a zero tolerance policy. So I never did it when I was in. When I got out, I felt like I was way too old for that. I feel,
Yeah,
you know,
I feel you.
There's like a certain time when you should do weed, and that's like in high school, and then you should just move on to heavier stuff maybe as an adult. You should
Yeah,
take a
okay.
pill or
But you were also very kind in turning down the offer when I said, hey, do you want beer or something? So do you not do a ton of alcohol, or are you just kind of more, this is your enjoyment?
Yeah, this is my vice. I'll drink on like really rare occasions. Sometimes like if there's like a big achievement, or like I'll have a drink on New Year's.
Okay.
Like that's like a
One of
time
the
that
few
I'll have-
times you
yeah,
kind of do that.
Exactly. But I'm not really not much of a drinker.
You mentioned that this is kind of a family ritual. Let's say you have a kid. Let's say it's a son.
Yeah.
How long before you do this with him?
I just had a cousin turn 18, and my uncle promised him, because he sees all the older men in the family, and the patriarch of my family all smoke cigars, and so he said, when I turn 18, I want to have a cigar. And my uncle, he's a man of his word. He said, you know what? When you're 18, I will give you a cigar. And so I think I'll probably do the same thing
At
too.
18?
When he turns 18, I'll give him his first cigar.
That makes sense.
Try to take a big draw, like a 4-second draw when you. There you go.
I understand a little more now. Like before, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Am I gonna cough a whole bunch?
Hey, I don't hear you coughing. That's good.
Well, don't worry. The asthma will kick in later. But for me, I figured in the spirit of you and I trained, so we do have more to celebrate than just your win.
Exactly, yeah.
I got to know you. And then I also realized, like, if you're going to be sharing part of your story, how can I not try to learn more about you than learning this?
I appreciate that. We're officially breaking bread.
As we continue to progress as friends or interviewee, interviewer,
absolutely.
I feel like the next time we train, if you're not in camp, perhaps we do this as a means of celebration as we go.
Absolutely.
And then we can talk shop about what we were fixing or what we hated about the other person, so that I can tell you things like, bro, you're too tall. I don't like the way it's trying to trip you. It's a lot of work.
For sure. I'd be down. I'd love to come back on the podcast.
Well, I feel like you're going to have continued success. But more than that, what I've learned, especially in the way that you grapple, you're not going to quit. So I feel like I'm just going to see you until you don't want to do it anymore.
That's pretty fair. Yeah. I'm going to keep doing it. The nice thing about jiu-jitsu is you can just keep doing it. The thing about MMA is you see a lot of these guys retire. Some of them come back just because it's the feeling of being in the cage. It's not.
It's hard to replace, bro.
But the thing about grappling is you see what's his name?
Megaton. You see Barrett Ishida.
No, you see what's his name? Mighty Mouse.
Demetrius Johnson.
Yeah.
Okay.
He still grapples. He's been retired. He's not coming back to MMA for $1 billion, but he still grapples.
Hold on. Are you going to be the grappler that at age 50 is going to be in Masters 3 or 4?
By far, for sure. I always love seeing at the IBJJF tournaments the coral belts and the black and red belts competing. That is awesome. I love seeing that.
I could see you being that guy. You're going to be 60 years old and flexing on the hose when you have a neon belly. The only problem is they're going to submit just because they're like, bro, my stomach can't do that
pressure.
Normally, what we do in this thing for the drinking side, we put questions in a cup. It's too hard. There's too many people walking around, so I don't want to put questions in a cup. As it is, this never happens out here, so nobody ever puts lights and starts doing this.
Exactly.
So here's what I want to do. While we're finishing these,
Yes.
I'm going to allow you to ask any 5 questions you want, and I'm going to ask you any 5 questions. It could be MMA related, jiu-jitsu related, but it's more often to go outside of the scope of MMA and jiu-jitsu. So go for it.
You know, I actually don't know what belt you are in jiu-jitsu.
I did say it.
Did you?
Yeah. We were talking in there. I don't know if it made sense, but I am a purple belt.
You are a purple, okay.
But I'm a long-time purple belt. So we get a lot of people who are like, bro, and I'm like, bro, I don't give a shit. Like today, you're a blue belt, but you roll at what might be a brown belt level just because of your intensity and the way that you have to compete. So you aren't allowed to roll like a blue belt that's going to be like, I'm just chill, bro. Like you have a purpose that you need to do that. But I've subscribed to the following beliefs. I don't want a belt because I showed up on time and that I was attending. I want a belt when somebody feels I'm there. I agree. I've had a very different experience where I've worked with different gyms. And there was a gym that I was at for a long time and I liked them. But I kind of recognize, I'm like, as I get my upper belt, I kind of want them to come from people who matter to me really a lot. So the people I've targeted for my no-gi, I want to get 2. I want to get 1 in no-gi and 1 in gi. The people I've targeted are my friend Mike Frosto. I'd love to get a black belt from him eventually. And he's my no-gi side. And my gi side is actually my co-commentator, John Evans, who was my first real instructor who took an interest in me and realized I think you could be good, or he was really encouraging and a scientist. And I said, oh, you could be a scientist and do this. I always knew that was possible, but the way I roll is very unique. So I'm like, I need somebody smarter than me to help me in that world.
What is your take on people who cross-train as opposed to people who train strictly at one gym?
I think it's vital. I think that I've always had a policy that if I was the best in the room, I need to find another room. I can't always be the best. And it drives me to want to be the best. But if you are in a room and you're just wrecking people day in and day out, your jiu-jitsu needs to evolve.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of days where you could say, I'm giving you position. I'm like, do what you do. I want you to be good at what you're good at. But that is how I found my friends here. That is how I found Milton. That is how I found Mike Frosto. Is I said, I have to challenge myself to go roll with people who are going to be hard. And in your brain, you would know, you're like, damn, these are going to be tough rolls. I'm not going to have a fun day. But I knew if I could roll with them, I could go to any gym, roll with any guest, and maybe I don't beat them all the time, but I'm always going to be safe. Okay. So to me, that was really important. Well, hold on. Now I'm going to ask you one.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
Perfect day. Walk me through breakfast, lunch, dinner. What is the perfect set of meals for you, sir?
Perfect set of meals. Usually I have a really light breakfast. Usually, like if I'm not lazy and I don't skip breakfast, like on the way to work, I will have like an egg or two and like a bagel.
Okay.
I like protein and I like just enough carbs to kind of get me through the first half of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, like if I'm eating a bigger breakfast, I'll add like a yogurt too. Like I'll have yogurt.
Okay.
It's like one of my favorite things to have for breakfast. Lunch. Usually I'll skip lunch too, or I'll have like a sandwich. Maybe I'll DoorDash ramen or something.
You're mentioning ramen. I almost got ramen
like
today.
Ramen.
I get down on ramen.
Yeah.
What's the ramen order though?
Yeah, I'm a basic bitch with my ramen. I'll order the classic ramen. I love when ramen shops have the half hard boiled egg in
Really?
the ramen. If there's an opportunity for me to get another egg,
yeah,
I'll get another egg in my ramen.
You know, we would go very well together to a ramen spot because I used to hate the egg. Now I like it okay.
What?
But I used to hate it.
That's the best part.
To me, it was just like, it's in the way. Give me more pork. Let me enjoy that. I got that. Give me, you know what? A thicker noodle is important to me.
I like the thick noodles. There's in Glendale, there's a really nice udon noodle place that I went, and that was really good. Because when I go to Costco, I'll buy like these pre-packaged udon noodles that you put in the microwave, and they're not the best.
No,
fresh udon is delicious.
It's the best. I'm with you on that. Okay, all right. So that's that. I'm gonna now turn it back to you.
Outside of jiu-jitsu, what martial art do you think is your next favorite? And it could be grappling related, it could be striking related, it could be Wing Chun, you know? It could be
we didn't
Bushido,
really honestly
Aikido.
we didn't wrestle a ton. I wish I had learned a little bit more in wrestling. But I do have a very big appreciation for striking. It's just, again, I think sometimes it comes down to my own personal interpretation. But I have seen people who are very ego-filled. And like when I'm rolling with people or I'm training, let's say boxing, I'm not necessarily trying to like beat you up or be crazy. So like I like a very skilled person, and you can guess the amount of people who, when I say, oh, I've done strike, and they're like, I want to strike with you. And I'm like, yeah, it's just because you can't beat me at jiu-jitsu, or I tapped you a few times, bud. But I've tried to take that in stride and just say, like, I think at its best when I'm really learning striking and I'm taking more privates, or I've learned from somebody like one-on-one, there's a different bonding that happens on that side where I have to give myself to that world, where I'm like, I'm not as good at this. So I would have loved to have learned that more. But interestingly enough, my first boxing classes predate my first jiu-jitsu classes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's interesting. What do you think is the most valuable skill to have in MMA? Considering all the fights you've watched, you look at how MMA has evolved in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
What do you think is the, and I know since you're a grappler and I'm a grappler too, our answer might be biased in that one, but you see how certain jiu-jitsu guys like Oliveira are doing against like Makhachev and strikers like Topuria. Where do you think
it's wrestling,
and
it's part of the jealousy that we have as jiu-jitsu people. Like, our specialty is once we're on the ground. Wrestlers can make a lot of stuff interesting, and your pressure feels like a wrestler, but it is informed. So that is to me kind of like where, when I watch what you're doing, I'm like, you do have a ability to speak both. But I do feel like that's the key for MMA. It's like, dude, I've seen a lot of mediocre strikers offset that by being a very good wrestler. So you can really cut the difference off in that way. I think that's a pretty important element.
In all of my tournaments or times I've cross-trained with other people, the deadliest combo is the wrestling jiu-jitsu mix. People who are able to combine the wrestling with the jiu-jitsu make for deadly grapplers and fighters.
When was your first wrestling class?
Probably when I was at Tomaselli Academy in 2022 when I first started with them, because I was purely jiu-jitsu. When I was doing my tournaments and stuff, we did judo and jiu-jitsu, and I didn't really do wrestling and actual, a actual wrestling class with a wrestling coach until then in 2022.
Have you ever done a wrestling tournament, and would you?
I haven't. I actually haven't done a wrestling tournament. I would. I'd like to see how well my pure wrestling does against everybody else in my division, in my experience level. I really like doing that. I was also thinking about doing a PMT in March while waiting for the April card to
manifest.
Yeah. I've just been doing jiu-jitsu tournaments in between my fights, but I'd like to do like a PMT or a wrestling match as opposed to just jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd considered it, and I might do it. I think my wrestling is good, just the pure wrestling, like jiu-jitsu aside. And, if I lost or if I didn't, I guess, finish the tournament in the way that I wanted, it's mostly just for the experience. It's to see what the meta is for wrestling, what people are throwing out there.
Yeah.
To see how well my knowledge is against people who are only training wrestling. I think that's good information to have.
Do you remember the first time you scored a pin just in a wrestling round? What was going through your mind when that happened?
I'd been doing jiu-jitsu for a while, so I wanted to submit him when I had a pin.
No shit.
Yeah. I was like, this feels like the job's not done. It felt when you're holding them down, like even in Keiza, I think that in wrestling they have their own word for that. I don't even remember what it's called, but just that head and arm choke, just holding them down like that. I was like, it feels incomplete. Wrestling feels incomplete. It's great for the takedown. It's great for maintaining top control and pressure, but there's no submission, and I want the submission. I want the satisfaction of submitting my opponent.
So you enter a wrestling tournament. Do you wear a singlet?
I mean, when in Rome, you have to. I think you have to. When do you think is a good time for an MMA fighter to go pro? I know everybody has their own take on it. I want to hear your take.
Somewhere around 10 fights. 7 to 10, it depends on the person. Some people, if they're really good at 6 and they've won like a title, that's enough time, done. I feel like by 10 fights, you're not a kid anymore. And if you're really young, it means you're trying to advance and be in like the UFC and something. But I feel like 10 is enough experience where you got it. Some people just bang out the amateur career, and you don't always know the reasons why. But I feel like part of that is maybe they don't want to go pro in the way that they think they're going to UFC. They're just kind of challenging themselves as a fighter that maybe they're not going to do that. But I feel like 10's a good number.
Do you think age has any effect on that?
Yes,
or do you think a background, like if you're like an amateur boxer you've had, or like a kickboxer, you think that counts for some of the fights?
Yeah, but let's say you take a boxer down. Okay, now they're a pro. Now what? Okay, punch me while you're down, bud.
Exactly.
It's going to be way harder. I just feel like it is something that every person should make their own decision. I've just seen 10 be an average number. So a lot of these guys, they'll win 4 fights. They're like, give me a title. And you go, okay. And maybe they win it. Okay, great. Does that mean you stop now? Because maybe you need to defend that a couple times to really get your last reps. But I feel like a 10 record allows you to have had maybe a couple wins and losses that you learn something from. Anything before that 8, I'm kind of like, are you sure? Because you can, but that first loss you're going to take as a pro is going to hurt a lot more.
Do you think fighters in the amateur division, when they win a title, do you think they should defend before going pro?
I'd like to see it.
You like to see it?
I'd like to see it. Because I like to see a defending champ. if you feel like you need to leave and you need to do your own thing, who's going to stop you, man? But in my opinion, again, I'd rather you learn how to defend the title. Because right now, how many fights total have you had as an amateur?
I think this was my 8th fight.
When are you looking to go?
Ideally, when if I win the RFL or UNF title for welterweight, I think that I'm ready.
That's the time.
That's what I want to do. I don't care how many fights it takes to get to that point,
but see how I'm like, you're around 8. Okay, you want to get some more experience. You want to get a title. You might end around 11. You know, and if you ended at 10, great, you hit my number. If you went more than that, then maybe you're getting that extra reps that you want. How old are you right now?
27.
Okay. So you're not even hitting your peak just yet.
That's true, but I know there's plenty of guys who are 27 who've already had like 4+ pro fights. So I know there's some guys that are like 30 that are doing amateur fights, and it's like they're probably not going pro, or it's like they need to be going pro yesterday if they
yeah,
you know.
But I feel like everybody has a different thing. So like Bailey is a great example. Bailey's fighting a little bit older as an amateur for his first fights. So he might want to speed it up if he ever thought about going pro, but I don't know if he does want to go pro. So it's kind of like, I think he has to get this experience and find out for himself. And that's the whole reason amateur exists.
Exactly.
What's the move I'm not going to catch you with? Next time we roll, tell me one move that I absolutely will not catch you with.
That's a good question. A move you won't catch me with?
Maybe one you don't get caught with a lot, or one that based on our rolls today, you're like, I feel confident you would not get this.
Armbar.
Armbar. Yeah. You're good at arm bars. Escapes?
I'm good at arm bars. I'm good at defending arm bars.
Okay. Here's the sad part of that. Selfish question. Now I have a goal.
Yeah.
Because at one point I had your arm for at least a Kimura setup. So I'm like, oh, well, now I'm not going to take that Kimura. Now next I'm 100% going to try for an armbar.
Yeah, I've got pretty good discipline with like tight elbows. If I'm stretching my arms out, it's like for a second.
Yeah.
You know, that's usually when
you make use of your time when you're doing that, right?
You find that's when people make their mistakes, is when they start exposing their arm or just stretching it out as an opportunity to start attacking that arm. You know, and that's why, you know, when you're holding like this and your arms are tight, it's like now I have to break that grip in order to start isolating one of those arms.
There were a couple times I felt like you were bringing it up, and I was like, oh, okay, he wants an armbar here. And
when you're here and I couldn't push your arm down here for like the Americana or something, or turn here.
You had a sneaky little underarm bar I like though.
I tried to like do the that turn into the arm bar, and I shot for it. But you were pretty good. You were disciplined bringing that arm back to your chest.
I know what I want, and I know what you want. And sometimes it's trying to barter with you and be like, I'm going to give you this.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you remember, but at one point, literally you're on top, and I actually would give you the arm. Did you see that a couple times?
I think so. I'm trying to remember.
It's hard to remember, but I snuck it in a couple times because I wanted to see what your reaction was going to be when I just go like, hey, have it. Yeah. Have what you want. And then I remembered you slowing down and being like, what is he doing? And I go, all right, he's figured that out.
I do like that. I'll do that too in my game, is try to bait people with stuff. And you know, more often than not, they'll try to pounce and jump on it. And it's like, all right, he ate it. He ate the bait.
He took it. All right. We're going to go into a different direction now.
Okay.
If not fighting, what would you be doing?
So right now I work IT for a school. I'm a sysadmin for a school. If I wasn't fighting, I'd probably pick up fighting, but
it would have still found you some way.
I would have found it. But if I wasn't fighting, I'd probably still just be doing the IT stuff. I loved computers when I was a kid. I did. When I was in the Marines, my specialty was in communications. We did like radio communications, and there's a little bit of cross training with computers and stuff like that too. And then when I got out, I went to school for cybersecurity, and now I have an IT job.
Okay. A lot of guys, when they do this world, that's it. you have the ability to do other stuff. So you do have job security as you go on. So that's a cool feeling to feel.
That's true. I like knowing that I've got job security, but this there's no. IT is really dry and boring. It really is. As interested as I am in it, it is a very dry subject. MMA is just so. It's always evolving too.
Yeah.
It's engaging. MMA is an engaging world, and just all of the martial arts. That's
It's
why
your
I
real
really like it.
passion.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I get that. What's a job that even if they paid you super well, you wouldn't do?
Oof. A job that paid super well that I still wouldn't do. I see videos like on Instagram of people doing like underwater diving, to like scrape off like the barnacles off a ship or do
Holy
underwater
shit, that's a
welding.
great
and stuff.
answer, dude.
I see that and I'd be like, I really wouldn't want to have to do that. It's cool. It's cool to see the like the little clips that people will make about doing that, but I wouldn't want to do that, especially at night. Like, could you imagine being in like the freezing ocean and it's like pitch black out and you're trying to like weld something on a ship and you feel something like brush against your leg,
my
some
God,
fish
no,
or something?
no.
Exactly.
No, I'm good.
And you're like, and you can't jump back up to the surface because you got a job to do.
Yeah.
And also too, like if you're at like super low depths, you have to like slowly acclimate back to surface pressure because of there's like some deal that happens like in your blood where if you rise to the surface, you like the oxygen in your blood like fucks you up or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what the science is behind it, but it's like if something brushes up against your leg in midnight deep black water, you're stuck there. You're letting that fish fucking molest your leg. I'll ask the same question.
Okay.
If you weren't doing martial arts, what would you be doing?
I got offered to teach and securely, but A, I'd have to live somewhere I didn't want to live. B, I didn't know exactly what I was going to do, but I had an idea. And if you ever know that feeling, like I knew I was going to do something more in entertainment. I did. And then I was to do like these entertainment jobs. A big thing to me as I was really impassioned and really loved martial arts is I was like, oh, nobody does it like what I do. So I started a podcast 12, 13 years ago, even longer than that, called Verbal Tap. And it was a combination of mixed martial arts, jiu-jitsu. And it was like telling a journey of, this is me beginning to train. This is me observing the world and having a comedic take. And I always tell people, before you start anything, you have to know what separates you if somebody else is doing the same thing as you. And I said, we're the late night comedy of this because I worked at a late night show. I worked at the Night Show with Jay and I worked with Conan.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
So working those two different places made it so that I was like, well, nobody else has written jokes for a late night program and hosted a podcast about mixed martial arts. And now there's plenty who love this, but I have a feeling we were like the first.
That's really cool.
But
being able to mix those two, I think is really cool. I think you'll see that more in the future. That's cool that you get to be at the beginning of that. But I think you had like Brendan Schaub, who is like a UFC fighter trying to go into like comedy. He failed. That's another story. I think he sucks as a comedian.
He's not great. No.
No, but I think his takes on MMA are pretty sound. I think it'd be cool to see more people in MMA, go into like entertainment and comedy and stuff.
And you will.
I see Rampage Jackson kind of doing that now, where he's doing his little his streams. I think it's on Kick or something. But and that's smart. I think more fighters need to do that because people care about what fighters do outside of the cage.
Absolutely. Well, to me, it's also knowing that TKO is part of an entertainment industry. So that now that you're seeing more fighters in movies, before you couldn't do both. So that world is very interesting to me, to see those worlds and kind of like see them commingling. Like it's not foreign to see Ronda Rousey in Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
But then you go, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that couldn't happen. So yeah, I think that's a world. But yeah, I was supposed to be a teacher. I said, I don't think this is for me. Went into entertainment. As I was doing entertainment, I split time between the two. I saw that there was nobody hosting and who could bring out a side as an interviewer with levity and with experience. And so, we were talking a little bit here where you're like, man, I never got used to doing this kind of talking. That really wasn't my world. And I'm like, well, my job is to do the things that put you in your world, to potentially get the best interview out of you, but that also, like, all right, I'm crazy enough to roll with you. You're 27, you're good. There's no reason I should be rolling with you. But I'll give you good rolls, and I'll definitely...
We had good rolls.
I think so.
It was really fun.
What is the best fight you've ever seen? And follow up, what is the best fight you've ever seen live?
The best fight I've ever seen, I really liked the Hamzat Burns fight.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked that. I liked the Arman Sarukian Gamrot fight. I really like being able to see they had really fast, good rolls combining just that wrestling, technique was really good. I liked seeing that, and that was a close fight too. I really like. I really like the Peter Yan Marab fight that happened recently.
Mm-hmm. That was a good fight.
I really like those. I really like those ones. Best fight I've seen live. What's crazy is I haven't seen a live UFC fight. I've been meaning to.
You don't have to. They're too expensive now.
Yeah, they are.
I used to do press and cover them. And I would cover them for GSP fights, Anderson Silva fights. And this was years after going as a fan. So, like, we're talking like I saw Brock Lesnar beat Randy Couture.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? No, hold on. I saw Randy Couture win. That's my apologies. It's been a minute. Randy Couture win his title at 44 years old.
Wow. That's cool.
I saw Brock Lesnar versus Cain Velasquez later. But when I was covering it, we're talking like Anderson Silva versus Chris Weidman, hearing bamboo snap with his leg, feeling traumatized. So, like, to this day, I can still hear it in the back of my mind. But you don't have to go to the UFC. I'm talking you've been at other fights. Is there one in particular that you've seen even at the locals or ones that you've been on that you're like, damn, that was a good fight?
I really like seeing Stone versus DeMarco.
Okay.
That was at UNF. Mm-hmm. I think that was for a title. I can't believe Stone isn't pro yet. I don't know why his coach is telling
taking
him,
his time.
Yeah, but he's ready to go pro. I like seeing that Stone looked really good in there, and DeMarco's a good fighter too, and Stone made it look easy.
Best fight I've ever seen live, UFC anywhere, Rich Leroy versus Jalen Turner. Local, okay. CXF.
Yeah.
A phenomenal fight. Rich Leroy came back from the dead, beat this dude. Rich became my boy from that moment, and we've been friends ever since. And he's turned into an incredible coach. He's got a great team with Sidiao Tong, 805. Just good people. I really like him. But we became lifelong friends for this reason. It was such a good fight. Imagine I see you. I'm doing interviews with you, right?
Yeah.
He wins a fight. I have the ability to interview him. And I go, hey, bud, I'd love to do an interview. He's like, oh, okay, let's do it. And I was like, but not tonight. And he's like, what? I go, I can't get the best interview out of you tonight. Just embrace and celebrate that you won something dope.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. He later told me, he's like, that's when I knew you were cool. I was like, yeah, my job is not to be inhumane. I get if we were at the UFC, you have to. But we're not there. And for me, that's when I was starting to develop the let me go to you and do an interview, or let's do it at a place. So once I started teaching here, the cheat code was I would have the ability to set up things so that after we roll, you shower, I shower, we have the ability to now go straight into the interview. Because I don't want to waste your time if I don't have to. Because we've been here for a minute. Like, there was sun before and there was no sun. So we've been here for a minute, but I like to make each experience feel unique and every role set feel unique as well. All right, I need some tips.
Okay.
So I still have a little bit of stuff here.
You do.
But I need to know, how do I not smell like cigar tomorrow?
I mean, what I do is usually if you smoke cigars as much as me or like my family does,
It's different. Yes.
you have what's called a smoking jacket. So you have a jacket that you typically will wear when you're smoking, because usually you're smoking outside anyways. With when the wind gets chilly, it picks up. You want to kind of be warm, you know.
Mhm.
And also a designated smoking jacket means the rest of your jackets don't smell like smoke. Usually I'll do that. I'll have like a smoking jacket. If I'm smoking at night,
Mhm.
I might take a shower too.
Okay.
And you know, when you brush your teeth, take a shower, the smell goes away.
Okay. Like,
Yeah.
listen.
Especially if it's just like 1 or 2 cigars.
So I realized one thing here. I made the right choice for pants because these are like my ghetto ass pants. My wife accidentally knocked into me and it spilled like Clorox. So bleach got into it. And I was like, well, she's like, should we throw it away? I was like, they're really fucking comfortable. I'm not throwing this shit away.
Yeah.
And I'm not cool enough to make it seem like it was a stylistic choice. So
Yeah.
anytime somebody's like, those are like sweats, I go, yep. Very comfortable. Fuck you. I don't care.
Yeah.
So that's the one side. But the second side was I was like, oh, I'm definitely wearing Grappling Hour merch. So this shit needs to get out of that at
If
some
you're
point.
walking down Rodeo Drive, people would think those are designer pants, so you're good. In LA, that's what's in right now.
I hear you. But I also think you have to have a personality and style that says like, I don't give a fuck.
You just gotta wear some sunglasses, man. There you go.
Fair. Okay, so that's tip one. The shower, all that. That should go away. Because the other thing I realized now, and maybe I didn't plan this well, our gym owner was like, bro, it's all good. Like, no problem. And I go, well, we'll be outside. He's like, no, of course, do your thing. I have to go back in there and clean up. And I was like, oh, shit, I might get that in there. Fuck. Ugh. All right, well, it's going to smell like that. So at least I'm going to keep the door open and the fans on. But I immediately was like, I did not think this through all the way.
Yeah, with two cigars, it might kind of like permeate a room. With ventilation, it clears out pretty fast though.
Okay.
But
Because again, I told you my wife said, no problem.
yeah,
It's better than Korean barbecue. And I'm like, I feel like she's going to sleep next to me tonight and be like, cool. Because I told her, I was like, I'll sleep downstairs, no big deal. She's like, no, it's fine. And I go, you know what? She vapes and does all that shit. But that shit goes away. This is me being like, oh, it's going to be on me for a little while. What is the next one I'm supposed to smoke? So when I smoke, if I smoke again, what's the next thing now that you would suggest for me?
If you like something sweet, kind of like that, but maybe a different flavor, but still same level of sweetness, I would go with a tobacco.
Okay.
If you want something a little bit more mature, like what I had, I've got mine isn't sweet at all, but it's very earthy. It tastes like coffee almost.
Really?
It's like a black coffee.
Because this tastes like, you said like a coffee. This, when you say a sweet, it feels like a dessert that I have in my mouth for a long period of time. So it's like, oh shit, you're like, this is some good chocolate.
I would recommend, if you want something like that, that's like, it tastes almost like chocolate. It's just slightly less sweet. A Gurkha Ghost is really good. It tastes like a hot cocoa, if that makes sense. Yeah. Just with like sweetness at like 10%.
Okay.
But it's still a really good cigar.
Okay.
I would do a Gurkha Ghost or a tobacco would probably be the next one.
A big person to me when I was growing up that I idolize, and still to this day I feel like it's my interview style, is David Letterman. When I used to grow up and I would watch him, my man used to have, all right.
Yep.
I was like, I don't really like cigars in that way, but damn, he looks fucking cool.
Oh, back when he was like clean shaven. Now
he's in his big beard area, and I'm like, hey man, if you had to be clean shaven every day of your life, now talk show hosts can have facial hair. Before you couldn't. I worked for the EVP of late night and NBC, a very incredibly powerful position. He famously, his name's Rick Ludwin, rest in peace, love you, Rick. But he's the guy who famously took out money from late night during Johnny Carson and gave money to Seinfeld, and that's how Seinfeld was able to be. Yep.
Wow.
So when I walked in that office, I was like, that's entertainment legend, Rick Ludwin. And he said something. He was like, if you're ever going to be on TV, you can't have facial hair. And I was like, what? And he goes, think about it. Who are the biggest stars? Do they have facial hair? And I was like, yeah, okay. But the times are changing.
Yeah, the times are changing. Now you have like Jason Momoa. You've got some other guys. You've got, I mean, I guess it doesn't I don't know if it counts, like some of the like Robert Downey Jr., some of the Marvel guys, some of the Marvel stars, they have facial hair. I know that's part of their the character, but you'll see people with the beard and stuff. I think Jim Carrey had a beard for a while.
He did. Although some people think he's been replaced. Do you think that's true?
I don't know. if you look at the state of the world, anything's possible.
I love the fact that I had you so long and deep into the interview, and I was like, tell me your favorite conspiracy theory. Like, oh, okay. You were telling me about these people. Tell me about El Jefe, and what do they do, sir?
El Jefe Energy. If you guys sponsor me, dude, that'd mean a lot. I don't have any sponsors yet, so if you guys are my first sponsor, that'd be awesome. I think the owner of El Jefe came to Pugilist and was talking about looking for sponsors. That's what they were telling Thor, and we have kind of like how you have a cooler in your gym. We've got a cooler in our gym, and like half of it is El Jefe drinks. They make good drinks. They make really good.
And they're fight fans, so that's
they're big fight fans. They've got some like pro boxers and some MMA fighters already. If you look at their Instagram, they already have fighters that they're sponsoring.
All right. So if that's the case, you got them. Who are the friends and family members and teammates that you want to give shout outs to?
For sure. I mean,
and then look into that camera.
First and foremost, my coaches. I can't thank them enough. Thor, of course. That was such a surreal moment, having him in my corner and then giving me the post-fight interview in the cage. That was still really fun. I really loved that. Austin and Sam. Austin's my striking coach. Really good fight IQ with the striking. My striking's improved just by taking his classes. Sam does judo and jiu-jitsu. He's really good. He keeps me on my toes. He makes sure to humble me, keep me humble. So shout out to my coaches. I love them, and they want nothing but the best for me, and I'm really proud to have them as my coaches. My teammates, of course, Bailey's a beast. I can't wait to have him. I can't wait to see him fight again. Hopefully, we fight again on the same card in April. All my teammates. Axel's really good. Wes is really good. My buddy Vince. He's new. He's still really green, but he's picking stuff up really fast. He does his best to give me good work in the gym, so I applaud him for that. Even though I abuse him. I
was about to say, you didn't even have to say that part. I think everybody listening knew that's what you meant there.
So I'm glad. I'm thankful for Vince. There's a bunch of other fighters that I'm probably missing, but those ones absolutely, because I see them all the time. My family, of course, for support. They know nothing about mixed martial arts. They know nothing about fighting or grappling, but they're there to support. They watch all of my fights. So it's always cool to have my family cheering for me.
It's very, very good.
And
stuff.
hopefully,
El Jefe
sponsors me.
Yeah, El Jefe. Okay, can I make an assumption here?
Yeah.
El Jefe, if you sponsor this young man, he will. Don't flex on him.
Okay.
We haven't gotten the sponsorship.
Oh, okay. Not yet.
They don't get the flex if
you're right. No, yeah.
El Jefe, if you sponsor this young man, he will smoke a cigar with you. Does that seem fair?
Oh, that's more than fair, yeah.
Sponsor this young man. He's going to come through, give you great fights, and then he'll have a cigar with you. You'll figure out the particulars of your arrangement. But more than anything, what you get with this man is the way that we break bread. So when I train with people, you get to know them better. This is his way of getting to know you better. And I have a feeling this man, a title may be in his future. And I feel like for him, you want to be the people you said you saw it in first. So hopefully you're able to make that, because my man gave me hella great rounds, was good people, and he actually brought this for me. He had no reason he had to do that, and that is how I knew before we were even starting to do the interview. It was like, all right, there's a shared brotherhood here, so I appreciate that, sir. So, sponsor him. I do appreciate this. Do I need to take this out? Is this a good enough area to stop, or
for sure.
should I just keep it going?
Yeah, you can stamp it out. Just,
All right.
yeah.
All right. So
I
all I
like
have to
making
do.
sure the cherry is just not lit anymore.
Yeah, exactly. You want to make sure that that's out. So is this a respectable place to turn it out, though?
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at you and I'm like, I don't want to waste money. So I'm like, this is a respectable place to stop.
For sure.
Okay. So I say, cherry, see a little bit of smoke there. That look clean?
That's perfect.
Okay. So next time, hopefully you got something to celebrate. We roll, we do this again, and next time it'll be great. And I'm going to armbar you.
Thank you so much.
See how I stuck that in there? Pro move. But I appreciate you, sir. Hey, reminders, like, comment, subscribe. And I told you at the very, very beginning of this, if you didn't know what you wanted to comment on, here is your prompt. What is the best cigar you've ever had? Maybe if you're watching this and you're his family, you might have some cigars and references to go off of. But I would love to know, what is your favorite cigar that you've ever had? So that's number one. Again, like, comment, subscribe. Check me out, patreon.com/grappling hour. If you want to enjoy the show, $5 a month, you see these interviews 30 days before anybody else. A few extra dollars, see extra bonus content not available anywhere else. Additionally, you can also get this Grappling Hour merch. Go on over to rafflesparza.com/merch. Get you a tank top, get you a hoodie, get you a t-shirt. You always look like a classier individual. Like, it elevated how I look tonight.
For sure.
Just saying, I had a cigar in me and I was like, I feel classy, but it's really the shirt that's doing the last fingers. So check that out. And last but not least, join our Discord at Grappling Hour if you want to continue the conversations that we have here on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this very special episode. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.